Hi everyone, I'm Anne and in this video I'm gonna try out Turner Acrylic Gouache by painting a swan on toned paper. I recently got a new set of paint that I want to try out today. I'm excited to see how they work. I also have this paper block from Clairefontaine. It contains several colors of paper and has a deckled edge on one side. I scored the paper in half with this thing to fold it into a greeting card. I know from experience that this paper is sensitive for fingerprints, so I've put some tracing paper over it so I can rest my hand on top. I found a photo reference on Unsplash, which I edited for this purpose. Unlike regular gouache, acrylic gouache cannot be reactivated with water. It dries faster than normal acrylic paint, so I use a Sta-Wet palette so the paint will be workable for a longer period of time. I mix several shades of grey with black, white and a touch of burnt umber to add some warmth. I also added some burnt umber in the orange of the beak. The number one acrylic gouache is Holbein, but that's expensive. I did some research and this Turner gouache was often mentioned as a good alternative due to its quality for its price range. I haven't tried Holbein, so I can't compare it, but I like the Turner paint. It dries matte, it is very opaque, so if you make a mistake you can paint over it. I swatched the paint also on black paper and the colors really pop off the surface. It is a bit thick to use it directly from the tube. I did find it a bit tricky though to determine the right amount of water. Sometimes I didn't have enough and the paint wouldn't flow smoothly or the lines are too thick. And sometimes I had too much water and then it looked like watercolor. But that might just be a personal issue as I have the same problem with watercolor. Perhaps I'm just not as comfortable with paint in general as I am with pen and pencil. But if you find the perfect paint to water ratio, the paint is really smooth and fun to work with. But because the paint dries very fast and it can't be reactivated with water, blending is a bit difficult. I made it work in this piece by directly smooth the edges out with a clean damp brush or go over it with a different color while the paint is still wet. It can be done, but you have to be quick. Another way is to go over it with a more transparent glaze to soften down transitions. Once you get the hang of it, it's easier. Sometimes the paint dries a little lighter, like watercolor, and sometimes the paint dries darker, like acrylics. That makes color matching a bit tricky when you run out of a certain mix. I don't think that's the characteristics of the Turner brand, but of acrylic gouache in general because of the ingredients. So it took me in some areas more layers and adjusting than others, but overall the process went pretty smooth. I think it will get easier over time with experience to predict how certain colors behave. But the beauty of painting is that, no matter how well you plan out all the steps, the end result always surprises you, often for the best. So don't let the lack of control hold you back from experimenting with art. I'm not trying to make this into a super realistic artwork with tons of details. I wanted to still have that painterly feel. I completed it much faster than I thought, only one afternoon. That having said, size is not always a good indication of how much time it will take. Sometimes small pieces take quite a long time to do, due to the precision and amount of concentration. In a larger piece, you can get away with a small error, because it gets lost in the surrounding details. But in a smaller artwork, each stroke counts. But even when I think I'm done, I always come back the next day to see if I missed something that I need to change. My particular paint set came with 12 colors. That's basically all you need, but I bought yellow ochre and burnt umber separate because I use those colors often with my other types of paints. There are larger sets, but this is what was available for me at the time. Turner is a Japanese brand and they also have a separate Japanesque series, but I've heard that those pigments are a bit more grainy, so I went for the normal set for a smooth end result. I really like the flat look of gouache. If you're still on the fence about whether to buy it or not, I personally think this is a good paint for not too much money, if you find the right price. Prices, at least here in the Netherlands, vary quite a bit, so do some searching online for a good deal. I found the reflection in the water the trickiest part. I wanted the paper showing through and only give the idea the swan is swimming without painting every single detail. I just started close to the swan and worked my way out from there, just a little section at a time, and see if I needed to add more. The swan here really stand out on the toned paper. It maybe looks white, but it's not. I use light grays and I'm waiting with a pure white for the final touches. It's so satisfying to see the swan coming together when adding the highlights. It's just wonderful how it elevates the illustration from meh to wow. And that's it. Comment down below. Have you tried Turner Acrylic Gouache? Or are you planning to? And subscribe, that really helps out my channel. Have a nice day, until next time.